Mountain Blade's a pretty popular game, right? I mean, I think the people that watch this channel tend to agree with me on that, but because of its popularity, it's had a lot of clones in the past. Some have been great, some have been absolutely terrible, and some you probably just never heard of. So today I'm bringing you three games that, let's be honest, aren't Mountain Blade, but they use pretty much the same mechanics. Most of these, or should I say all of these, are built on the Mountain Blade engine, using what Telltale's created and then sort of mixed and matched it with a few other stuff to make their new game, some more successfully than others, some basically just making a paid-for mod, and others making an actual fully fledged game that actually brings something new to the Mountain Blade type game genre. Now, there are quite a few of these that I'm not going to be covering today, but if you like the idea of this video and want to see more, make sure you leave a comment down below and I'll get on there. But without further ado, here are three Mountain Blade type games that you've probably never heard of. Alright then, lads. Let's have at 'em. Number one is the most recent. This is the Viking Way. Now, you probably or most definitely won't have heard this because it came out 2 weeks ago from when I'm recording this video. The Viking Way is made by KK Softworks, who actually will have another entry in this list. You take Mountain Blade and you go the Viking Way. Now, of course, the Viking Conquest standalone DLC was for Mountain Blade Warband, but this is a bit different. And let's get into why. First off, it is in early access at the moment, so I think a lot will be developed later on. But this game is based in the sea, and unlike Mountain Blade, you're not really going around the land trying to recruit troops, trying to capture places, trading and all that sort of stuff, diplomacy with other lords. This is more based around naval combat. You are a Viking, and you have to go over and capture other places. Oh, we're really picking up speed now. Oh, I understand, so W and S move the sail. Right, W and S move the sail, and then A and D obviously move the direction that you go in. I mean, that's kind of cool. I quite like that. Right, I have unassigned points. Oh, right, okay, we're doing it like this. Okay. Gonna put them in medical. And I guess one-handed for now. Right, we're nearly at land. Land ho, land ho. Oh, there's some stuff here. Uh-oh. Yeah. I'm not risking this again. I'm out. Just do a quick circle round. Don't want them to start chasing me. Now, one thing I really do like is the naval concept on the overworld map, because it is different. It's not just a Mountain Blade mod that has been put on Steam with a price tag. It does feel like they've actually made an effort into making a completely new game. The ship mechanics, for example, sailing around using the A and D keys to move your ship and the W and S keys to move your sail, trying to catch the wind, trying to gain up speed. But of course, at the start, there will be treacherous enemies in the oceans. They'll be hunting you down, and if they capture you, they can board you and easily destroy you. You are very vulnerable at the beginning. Come here, lads. Come here. Oh, he's a big boy. Yes, take him down, take him down. Oh, there's many of them. They've killed all my men. Oh, it's just me left. Oh God. Oh, God. Because of this naval-based gameplay, much like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, your ship is your pride and glory. Yes, while recruiting crewmen is important to gain, of course, your renown and go throughout the land and be able to protect yourselves in battles, your ship is really where it's at, putting in upgrades to make it faster, stronger, hold more men, hold more materials and resources, going over and capturing and raiding monasteries, getting all their goods and then going selling them elsewhere in order to gain money, and then in that cycle, going back to your ship, putting in more upgrades, becoming stronger and more powerful. Now, of course, you do need to recruit crewmate to come with you. They can also be upgraded much like Mountain Blade, and as you can see with a similar UI, it's all done in this upgrade XP type way, getting better troops with better armor and better weapons in order to help you. Now, some differences between this and Mountain Blade are, of course, the animations, and I think they're quite cool. It separates itself from the Mountain Blade style game, but with something a bit quirky and different. The animations feel quite fluid and smooth, and there's some awesome ragdolls when you kill people. Using slashing, you can chop people's faces, and of course, they will fall and slump down to the ground with a bit of a blood spurt. It does add a little different bit to the combat, but that's about the most of the positives that I can say about the combat. Because At the end of the day, with a sword, it's basically just spam left clicking. There's not really any proper combat mechanics. They completely removed it from what Tailwoods had originally made on the original engine. What is going on? Just walking back and slicing. I mean, I'm gonna die, but the amount of them that I have slaughtered. Maybe we could have... Oh my god. Maybe we could have taken out that monastery in the end. You can hold up your shield, but once your shield breaks, you actually can't block at all, so you're a bit screwed and you're left to just walking backwards and slashing left and right. Even with a shield, it's default bound to the shift key, and you can have 2 different attacks on the left and right mouse clicks, which feels very weird, and it doesn't seem very intuitive or necessary, and that sort of feels a little bit like the devs just wanted to remove the combat from what Mount & Blade had, but it doesn't work. There's a reason that Mount & Blade combat was very popular, and completely changing it in a similar type of game just feels sloppy and messy. And overall, that's really the crux of it. The game is a cool idea. There's some cool additions like the naval combat and of course some cooler animations, and it looks quite nice, but it's quite sloppily done. The menu system is horrible. There's basically no options, and as you could probably tell, I screwed my ears when I loaded into a battle because there's no way to actually turn down the fighting sounds, only the music. What? F***ing hell. Why is it always so loud? Once you get killed in the sea, that's it. You're done. You got to start a new game, but the game doesn't tell you this. It just says your legend is over, and then the screen stops. Nothing happens. You've got to exit the game, go back to the menu and start a new thing. There's no way of respawning or telling you what to do. It just feels very rushed and unpolished, and yes, it is an early access game, but it's not a well done early access game. I think in the future with updates it could come along pretty well, but at the moment I wouldn't recommend it. Something that people should get into it unless you love cool ideas with terrible menus. Now the next game on the list is Freeman Guerrilla Warfare. As I mentioned earlier, this is also made by KK Softworks, much like the Viking Way, and it sort of shows it has a very similar vibe. It's a similar UI, but of course it's taken more from Mount & Blade, but I would say this is more akin to what you can expect from a Mount & Blade clone. It's taken, once again, made on the same engine, but it's kept some of the stuff that we know and love. It is based on land rather than this sea warfare. You go around with your party recruiting, selling, doing missions and quests and fighting looters and that sort of stuff, gaining their loot and then selling it onwards. It is a very Mount & Blade style gameplay. The difference is, it's set in the modern day, and you have guns. It is a mix between a first-person shooter and, like we said, the RPG sandbox that is Mount & Blade. And once again, it is a brilliant concept, but it is a bit rough around the edges. Now, let's be honest, it's not as sloppy as the Viking Way, but then again, this has been out for a few years, rather than the Viking Way that has been out for a few weeks. I do quite like the gun combat, and it looks quite nice. The textures on the weapons themselves are quite well done. The night combat is pretty cool with explosions and the gunfire in the background, but it's not too dark to where you don't know what you're doing. One of the things that really does annoy me though is how you order troops. You have to do it on the map, and you have to set out on the map where it goes, and it's very, very janky, and it's not very intuitive. There's no way of ordering troops while you're running on the fly. You have to pause the game, go into the map, so you go there, shoot this person, or follow me. And once again, this does feel like they just wanted to separate themselves from Mount & Blade and do something different, but not different in a good way. Come on, lads, let's go. There's a woman here with no gun. For goodness sake, this is going to be fun. Charge! Charge the enemy. Oh, they're there. They're literally there, lads. Oh my god, my ear! Perhaps one of the better ways to do it is to keep this strategic map, where you can click on squads and order them into different places, like you do now, but also have the possibility to just have hotkeys where they follow you, charge, and do certain things, much like Mount & Blade, giving you a bit more flexibility and speeding up the pace, because I do find that I'm trying to get into the battle, but my troops just don't want to follow me. Some cool additions include calling in some helicopters and some airstrikes and artillery strikes as well, which adds a different side and a dynamic to the game. What's that noise? Oh. I can literally just call in a I mean, that's kind of cool. The game has been out for quite some time and overall has been quite well accepted by the community. Whilst taking Mount and Blade and putting it in the modern age and giving it this gun combat, it works quite well, especially when the battles get to larger scales. At the beginning, it feels a little bit lackluster, but once you start recruiting men and upgrading them, you can make your own squads and how you can name them and sort out your squad. It's quite intuitive and it feels quite good. Commanding troops is probably its weakest point, but in terms of the management of your actual troops and inventory, upgrading your guns, getting new scopes, fitting new bits of ammo, getting rocket launchers and stuff, it feels very cool and it is a great addition. And I do think this game does deserve to be a standalone thing rather than just a mod for Mount and Blade. It feels like the effort has been put in. And if this is your sort of thing, I would say Freeman Guerrilla Warfare is something that I can recommend. And the final game on the list is perhaps the oldest, Blood and Gold Caribbean. This is the OG Mount and Blade clone. When this came out, developed by Snowbird Games, it was quite a surprise. It was something that I don't think anyone expected, a game that was built on the Mount and Blade engine but was its own standalone thing. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that Blood and Gold Caribbean, or back in the day just Caribbean ! As it was called, was the first to do this. It takes Mount and Blade in the campaign and the single player that you go through and it puts it into, well, the Caribbean. You have muskets, swords, pirates and loot. You've got to go around the world doing quests and finding message boards to go and find people to get money from. The ship combat is so cool. Of course, you can board ships, and much like the Viking Way and Viking Conquest, you have that new scene where it's just two ships standing next to each other and you go and fight them. But there's also another mechanic to naval warfare. You can play it a little bit like Napoleon Total War's naval battles, controlling a ship, or multiple ships in this case. Going around and you can fire your cannons, doing broadsides on enemies and using and changing to the chain shot in order to get their sails. It's very well done and it feels very slick. The way that they developed it completely changed the way that the Mount and Blade campaign played, and it really did add something more than just a mod. I personally love the scenes that they've created, fighting in the jungles or the plantations, fighting in fields or on oceans, adding in so many different types of loots and resources that you can go around and collect, and all the different types of troops. The effort and the detail that has been put into this game is sensational. They really looked at all the types of troops you can get and the ways that they work and really created a fully fledged game. If Blood and Gold Caribbean and Mount and Blade Warband were side by side, I would say that they'd had pretty much the same amount of effort and love put into them. It feels like a true game on its own, and whilst it is the most similar to Mount and Blade because of course it was the first standalone Mount and Blade like game, I couldn't recommend it enough. That's if you like what's in it now. Unfortunately, the developers haven't been around for a long time, so there's not going to be any more updates in it, and whilst it does have multiplayer and I played it a little bit back in the day when I made my initial videos on it, it's dead at this point, so you're not really going to be getting any multiplayer gameplay. And as I mentioned, it is very similar to Mount and Blade. A lot of the UI is almost exactly the same, a lot of the mechanics is exactly the same, and of course the combat is just Mount and Blade combat. And whilst I would say it adds enough with that naval combat to warrant it to be another game, it is so similar to Mount and Blade Warband. It does feel, out of all of them, like a mod. But because it's only about £7 at the moment and it's definitely worth that money, I would definitely recommend it anyway. All these games are pretty good. Viking Way, I would say, needs the most love and attention put into it in order to make it an actual viable game to play, but Mount and Blade has inspired some brilliant games. All the games will be linked in the description if you want to go and check them out, but if there are other Mount and Blade like games that you want me to check out, make sure you leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to get on them. Leave a like if you haven't already and subscribe for more content like this. But until then, I will see you in the next one.